All right. To date, several writing assignments have been completed in the journey of technical writing. The brochure, emails, newsletter, memo, block letter, resume, and many discussion board posts have all contributed to the knowledge of writing in a technical field. Although it may seem like some of the assignments were not as technical as could be, the formatting of each one is knowledge you must carry with you into your careers. Now in Unit 4, we're going to start on a proposal. A proposal is a type of report which is the most common workplace document, besides email of course. Research projects, reports, and papers generally begin with a proposal to do research. If the audience approves of the proposal, approves of the qualifications, or they can reject the proposal, you would have to go back to the drawing board and revise it again. It all depends on what the proposal is. As you look through some of the material in Unit 4, you find there are very many different types of proposals. The one you're going to work on for this unit is going to be financial. Okay. The first thing you need to figure out is who your audience is, who your purpose is, and you need to understand where your money needs to come from. Is it an overhead budget, or will what you're asking for create revenue? For instance, IT fields costs the company. That is considered overhead. There is nothing in the IT field that generates revenue. Cybersecurity is a big proponent of costing the company instead of creating revenue for the company, and so you probably will see more resistance and rejections with proposals than maybe other proposals that will create a lab or something that will generate some revenue. You know, if you're doing labs and you're getting paid lab work, that is creating revenue for the company. Cybersecurity, on the other hand, doesn't generate revenue, but it keeps all your data and all the information secure. So while it's important, it's not making money, and everybody wants to make money. So some of the issues that you might come across with science proposals, though, is the cost of what I would deem breakage. All your glass material equipment, beakers and strainers and everything that's glass has a potential to be broken. So sometimes in your proposal you need to offset some of those costs. All right, you are going to ask for a solicited proposal, which is a requested document. Sometimes solicited proposals include bids. In this, you would look at, you probably might bid electricians or plumbers or maintenance people to do different work depending on your labs. Unsolicited proposals, that would be almost option number 3, where you're bringing in a program to a school. It's an opportunity that arises that you can bring in. Sometimes it does not cost a lot of money to bring in something like a school proposal. Sometimes it does. All of these will be internal proposals, which means that they go within the company. They don't go outside the company. So your audience should be the CEO or the CFO or even the COO of your business that you create. Okay, what are the most common parts of the proposal? I've already included those in that discussion board, but again, you always need an introduction. You need some kind of background to say why this is important. You need the problem. The problem is we don't have this, we need this. The feasibility, can you actually do this, and is it cost effective? The plan, what kind of work is going to be involved with this? Again, the timeline is also important. How long will it take you to do this work? Because as a boss, you want to know, does this have a good solution? How quickly can you get it solved? And what is the plan in place on the work involved? Qualifications, it's you and maybe people that you work with that are qualified to do this kind of work. And as always, budgets are really high up on the factor of what do you need, how much is it going to cost. One thing that you need to realize with the budget is your reviewers will use your budget request to gauge your understanding of how much a project will cost and what it takes to accomplish the proposed research. They do this in one of two ways. They look at all your research and the evidence that you provide. Now, during obviously your college career, every English class I know that you have stepped foot in, they always want you to provide evidence. And you have to explain the evidence that you actually provide. This takes it to a different step where you can apply it in a career. So I want to see, okay, this is what I've looked up. This is where I'm getting my numbers from. This is where I'm getting my ideas from. I need that evidence. The more evidence you have, the more it shows that you've researched it, the less likely they are to say, oh my gosh, you have no idea what you're doing. Now, if you significantly over or underestimate a budget, it shows you won't understand the concept of the work, which will count against you when it comes time for them to actually review the proposal and whether they're going to approve or reject it. 9 times out of 10, they're going to reject it because you over or underestimated the budget. When I've worked for different companies, a lot of companies don't like a low ball estimate, nor do they go for the one that's the highest. They like to pick right in the middle. So as close as you can get to real numbers and real figures, and you're right there where you're supposed to go, that's what you need to look at. So let's walk into the proposal assignment now that I gave you some idea about what you're going to look for and how you're going to address this. Okay, your team is going to be responsible for preparing a proposal to seek funds. This proposal should give enough details that someone in the financial sector of the company or an investor will feel confident enough to approve the proposal and loaning you money. Since this is the case, you cannot have estimated or approximate numbers. They have to be current numbers in which you can provide proof, which is in your appendix, which are screenshots. So option number 1, your team is requesting funds to renovate a current office space for either a new lab or a workroom. Option number 2, your team is requesting funds to renovate a current office space for a training facility. You'll have to narrow down what type of training and how much space you will need. This can go from an entire floor to just a room or two. And number 3, your team needs to request funds for a new program for an area school to implement. This is very vague. It's also generalized, so you can do a lot of different things with option number 3. Okay, by now you should have picked an option. You had to fill out the discussion board. That option should have been in the discussion board. I should have read through them and given you some kind of idea on where you're going with that. Make sure you glance through all the lecture notes concerning teamwork on proposals, assigned tasks, and deadline dates. Analyze your purpose and audience. Again, this changes with each option. So I need to know this and be clear on who this is geared towards. Discussion board is already done. And if you want to revisit this, by all means, there are 2 videos concerning the discussion board. Hopefully you've picked a proposal template. Now you have to start filling out the template. Keep everything that you research. I don't care what kind of website it is. Make sure that you use this, because all that needs to go into the appendix under your name so I know what research you have done, what you were responsible for. This needs to be done by next week so you can have a peer review. And again, I'll post another video on peer reviews. Once a peer review is completed, you will do, if you want, revisions. They might have found something that you have left out. After the revisions, make sure that you give your team enough time to completely review it and say, yes, it's good to go before you turn in the final proposal. Make sure you know exactly who is turning in that proposal. Probably more than likely will be the coordinators. Right. Notes. You will need a company logo, company name, company contact information. You have to have this. You can make this up. You cannot copy somebody else's idea, so no, you can't use Apple or Dell or anything like that. You have to come up with your own company name. And company contact information, again, you're creating this, so it's your own thing. Make sure that you come up with an address. Again, doesn't have to be a legit address, but you do need an address. If it helps to find real space to work with your ideas, by all means, you can check out different sites by real estate agents to see what kind of commercial space they have available in buildings. Okay. On the templates, make sure you replace images with your own images. It's a guideline. Make sure you pick that person that's really good with working with templates. There's a budget proposal worksheet. Hopefully by now you guys have opened that up and looked at it. Make sure that you have people responsible for the sections so that nothing gets left out. And again, you've already had to pick the different duties that everybody has with names by them. Some of these you need to add into your stuff. Some of them you won't. It just really depends on your scope. Make sure in the appendix, though, that you include that budget worksheet. I see it filled out. And then all the references you have. I say you can divide them by tasks. Sometimes that makes more sense, but I would prefer by team member. And again, if you have any questions on the proposal, make sure you post it in the discussion board Q&A or contact me by text message.